This is SypherPK, the biggest Fortnite YouTuber of all time. From trap towers to getting his own skin.
Dude, no way, man.
But things did not start out so easy for Sypher, because before he was rich and famous, he was just a kid trying to prove his parents wrong and show them he could make it as a streamer. Luckily for us, I got the opportunity to interview Sypher so he could help me tell this incredible story. And let's just say, things got interesting.
Look, I have never told anyone this before.
Ali Hassan, also known as SypherPK, was born on May 10th of 1996, and he was the oldest of 4 brothers.
But there was a lot of pressure as the oldest to do well. My brothers, like, I feel like I broke down a lot of barriers for them, and it's a lot more chill for them. But there was a lot of pressure on me specifically to really be locked in on everything that I was doing, and there was a lot of pressure for me to really do well. And I felt like that definitely affected me and molded me. Sometimes it was a little bit too much, but overall, like, I'm glad I went down that path.
So a lot of pressure was put onto Sypher by his parents to be the perfect older brother. A lot of the other people we've talked to on this channel got into gaming because of their older siblings. But since Sypher was the older sibling, he didn't really have that. Instead, his dad randomly got him and his brothers a PlayStation 2.
I was playing games like probably like in the first grade, second grade, computer games, and then I eventually got a PlayStation 2 for my first console.
For those of you who weren't born yet, the PlayStation 2 came out in the year 2000. So 25 years ago, which is kind of crazy to say, because that was my first console ever. I guess I'm old, but whatever. Anyways, this was Sypher's first real introduction into the world of gaming.
My dad just randomly, like, you know, he got us a PlayStation 2. We weren't even really that into gaming for him to do that, but I guess like some of our friends at school had consoles, and I guess when we would go over to people's houses and visit, they would have a console and we would play, and we'd be excited to play and stuff. So he ended up getting us a PlayStation.
And the first game he ever played was the infamous Duke Nukem.
It was Duke Nukem. It was like a really old PlayStation exclusive. It was probably like not the right game for like a young kid to play, but we were playing it.
As Sypher got older, he started to discover new games through friends and people at his school.
Well, I got my PlayStation like when I was in elementary. A year or two later, I was in school. I was in detention, and there was a kid who was an older kid who was supposed to be like watching over us. You know, he wasn't in detention, but he was just there to like observe and make sure that everyone was like just doing their homework. He was on a computer, and he was playing a game called Runescape.
Runescape is another throwback, but is still very popular, so I bet you've heard of it quite a few times around the internet. While basically every game has some sort of online function now, that was really rare back then.
You know, I finished my homework and I go over, I'm sitting next to him and I'm like, yo, like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just playing this game. And then I noticed like there's characters like moving on his screen, and something was telling me that they weren't like NPCs. Like they were other real players, because at this point I had no idea that there was online multiplayer games. I had no idea. It wasn't even like a concept to me. So I'm like, are those real people? And he's like, yeah. So he starts like typing to them, and he's like trying to sell something from his inventory. And I was like, wait a minute, this is crazy. He's like playing a video game, and there's other real people playing with him online through the internet. It was mind-boggling.
Outside of playing basketball and RuneScape, Sypher was also a huge fan of YouTube and was a fan of the website since the beginning.
First person to hit 1 million subscribers, the guy with the really high-pitched voice. Hey guys, it's Jeff. Yeah, so I was there when he hit 1 million.
Yeah.
Like this was very early YouTube. I was watching it. I watched a lot of like the old like classic YouTube memes and viral videos, so I definitely had that like growing up where I was watching videos, and it made it easy for me to transition into making my own videos.
He was actually inspired to make his first channel all the way back in 2007.
I did upload videos in 2007 on YouTube. like the content creation, like the syndication of it started very early on. I got into stick figure animation videos. So I was watching like these really cool stick figure fighting videos where they animate the stick figure to do like really cool moves and whatnot, and like make a story out of it.
These sort of stick figure animations were hugely popular in early YouTube, and honestly are still pretty cool today. Unfortunately, Sypher doesn't have access to that channel or its videos, so we won't be able to see them anytime soon, but they look something like this. Yep, just stick figures and a lot of pixelated violence. So eventually, Sypher got bored of that, and eventually he would start making videos again for his school projects.
And I basically learned how to edit because my dad got like a new job, and he had a work laptop that had some editing software on it. Because back then it wasn't easy. Like there wasn't a lot of free editing softwares.
Sure, yeah.
So he had editing software on it, and I started learning how to edit.
And then Sypher would combine his love for editing and making videos with his aforementioned love for Runescape to make a brand new YouTube channel.
So I was like, oh, I could start recording RuneScape videos. And there was no OBS back then, so I was using this like really scuffed program called SypherPK. The mix of like making videos for school and then combining my passion for gaming, putting that together, and then started making I made the channel SypherPK 2011.
The channel started on January 22nd of 2011. It featured not only Sypher, but all of his little brothers and one of his cousins as well during their adventures in RuneScape. And unfortunately, we can't watch these videos either because Sypher had copyrighted music playing in them, so he had to take them down.
My first like 30 or 20 videos are probably private. When I was trying to become a YouTube partner, you couldn't have like copyrighted music when you applied. Like you had to have no copyright on your channel. And a lot of my early videos, I was just using any music I found.
While we can't see the first few videos on his channel, we do know what the videos were about, and of course, they were all about RuneScape. And luckily, we do have some footage of Sypher and his brothers playing that game. Then, about a year later, Sypher would start to live stream in addition to his videos.
So first stream ever was in 2012. So like about a year and a half after I made my channel in 2011. It was just a way that you could live stream. They had a tool for it, and it was a little bit complicated to set up, but I set up the live stream, and I streamed RuneScape, where I like just got my viewers to hop on, and we went and did some group PvP. I think I peaked at like 60 viewers on that stream. First stream, yeah, and it's I still have it. I still have it unlisted on my channel, like all my early YouTube streams.
If you've never tried streaming before and only watched big streamers, you might think that 60 viewers is not a lot. But you have to remember this was back in 2012, and Sypher had barely even started his channel. Streaming was way less popular, and people got way less viewers. Even now, when you stream, if you're brand new, getting 10 viewers is a big deal, let alone 60 on your first ever stream. So Sypher did his first few streams on YouTube, but eventually moved over to Twitch once he discovered the platform.
Afterwards, I discovered Twitch. So I didn't know about Twitch until like 2012. So after doing a couple streams on YouTube, I was like, oh, there's Twitch. So I made a Twitch account, and then I just like made a YouTube video saying, guys, I made a Twitch account, like go follow me. And then, like that was like the whole video, like 1 minute of me saying that.
There, they had an even crazier first stream on Twitch than they had on YouTube.
And we were playing RuneScape. We're doing trio, like PvP combat, open world, just like RuneScape PvP. First ever Twitch stream. And like, it doesn't make sense thinking back at it. We reached 600 live viewers. First ever stream.
That's crazy. Even by today's standards, that's crazy.
Yeah, even by today's standards is insane.
60 on the first YouTube stream was insane, but 600 on a Twitch stream during your first stream ever is almost unheard of.
Me and my brothers were so cringe, and we were always at each other's neck while we were like PvPing, like arguing on who messed up, who's making the calls. So we were always like ready to fist fight each other. And I think people just really enjoyed watching the cringiness. They're just like enjoying the shit show that we were putting on.
But unfortunately, as time went on, their early success would slowly dwindle away as they started to lose some viewership. This caused Sypher's brothers to eventually lose interest in streaming and content creation altogether.
The next stream, like after that, we only peaked at 300 viewers, and it was like 150 after. Like we ended up settling like around 30-40 viewers, and the thing is, like, we had no concept, especially my brothers, they had no concept of like what live viewership numbers should be. Even when we had 600 viewers, my brothers were like, yeah, but we get 2,000 views on our YouTube video.
Yeah.
So like they were really like, at that point we were getting like 2 to 3K views after 24 hours of a video being live, and we were all just like not sure like what actual live viewership should be like, and we were assuming that it wasn't worth our time. My brothers ended up just like, that was the moment really where they were just like kind of done with content creation. We were getting like $30 paychecks a month. Like our best month might have been $100. Like it just wasn't, like they were not interested.
To make matters even worse, RuneScape released the infamous Evolution of Combat update on November 20th, 2012. For those of you who don't know, this was the worst update in gaming history. It completely reworked their entire combat system and was pretty broken and messed up. Think about when Fortnite changed the movement settings and everyone was really angry. It was like that, but 10 times worse. So with SypherPK's RuneScape community dying, he had to find something new to do and fast.
So I was waiting for like the next game to come out, the next like big thing that I could kind of dive into, and I was still into MMOs, and that's when like they were making Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online is an MMO RPG that is part of the Elder Scrolls series. This was a super popular series in the RPG community, and Sypher had previously played one of the other games in the franchise, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, but not on purpose.
So at this point, I only play multiplayer games. Like everything I was playing was multiplayer, RuneScape multiplayer, even like Call of Duty multiplayer. When we got the Xbox 360 and I'm looking for a game, I'm like, the guys asked me like, what kind of games do you like? Because the first game I was gonna get like a Grand Theft Auto, and the dude was like telling my dad like, no, it's not for kids. I'm like, bro,
Is that the original? That would have been the original GTA or no?
I'm not even sure whichever one was on the 360.
Yeah.
But we were trying to get something.
Sure.
And the guy was like, no, it's for kids. So I told the guy like, I'm into medieval games. I play RuneScape. And he's like, oh, there's a game right here. It's called the Elder Scrolls Online. It's medieval. Not the Elder Scrolls Online, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It's medieval, but it's also rated M. And my dad was like, that's fine. I'm buying it for myself, right? The dude was being weird about the ratings, right? We ended up getting it, but the only reason I got it is because on the disc it said Xbox Live support.
Even though there was no online functionality, Sypher ended up becoming a very big fan of the series. So when he heard there was a new Elder Scrolls game coming out, he knew that this would be big for his channel.
When I heard the news that they were actually making an online MMO for the Elder Scrolls series, I was immediately following every little leak, every detail, and I started covering it on my YouTube channel before the game came out. So I started covering Elder Scrolls Online between 2013 to 2014 before it came out, a full year of me just covering leaks, giving my like POV about the game, how it's looking, development updates. I was doing all of that. So when it came out, I was like ready to dive in.
Eventually, Sypher made the permanent decision to drop RuneScape altogether on January 1st of 2014.
I've been following up with a bunch of the numbers from other big YouTubers as well, and they do agree that the RS YouTube community has been shrinking in size. And that's not the main reason that I have made this decision to stop uploading RS YouTube videos. I do still intend on playing RuneScape. I've been streaming for the past week on Twitch, and I'm trying to go for a Twitch partnership. So I still play RuneScape with my brothers. We still do triplet multi-PKing, and we're still going to continue the brother versus brother series, except all our series and videos and everything is going to be live streamed.
On March 17th, 2014, the SypherPK channel officially hit 10,000 subscribers.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Sypher. I'm making this video in order to thank everyone who has helped us achieve 10,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Up until now in Sypher's YouTube career, he was still in high school. And during high school, he kept his YouTube account pretty separate from his social life.
No one really knew about like my content creation, because at this point I was making content, not full-time obviously, but like it was kind of like a little secret.
But his graduation was coming up shortly after the release of Elder Scrolls Online. So Sypher had to make the decision. After graduating high school, would he go on to college or would he chase his YouTube dreams? And the choice wasn't exactly simple. Sypher wasn't even partnered on Twitch yet when he graduated high school.
At that point, like right as I graduated high school, I was still only making like $100 to $300 a month from YouTube and streaming combined, and I wasn't even partnered on stream, so the only money I made was like from like little donations here and there.
But Sypher knew that he could really be a professional YouTuber and streamer if he put his mind to it. But the people around him, including his parents, weren't exactly convinced it was a good idea. And his parents, as many parents want their kids to do, really wanted Sypher to go to college. So Sypher did that. Well, kind of. He pretended to go to college. I'll let him explain.
My parents wanted me to still go to classes, at least sign up for a few, and I like signed up, but like low-key was dropping them without telling my parents. They thought I was going to school, and I really wasn't.
He was operating his YouTube account like this for almost a whole year until he managed to get actually partnered.
A year of that, and I actually ended up getting partnered towards the beginning of that year. Back then you had to have 500 average live viewers to get partnered, and I got declined with 300, 400, 450 average viewers. I was still getting declined. The 1 month that I had like 500 average live viewers, I applied to be a partner, and I got it. Before partnership, like maybe I was making $500, $600 a month from streaming, purely just donations and tips. But once I got partnered, I quickly got up to like 500 paying subscribers, and people were just more invested and the stream was growing. So I started making like $2,000 to $4,000 a month.
With this huge new jump in income, Sypher was finally able to feel confident about his future as a real YouTuber. Every month his numbers were getting better and better, but despite his financial success as well as the growing views, his parents were still not supportive. They wanted him to stop doing YouTube and focus on getting a real job and building a future. And they weren't trying to be mean, they just wanted what was best for their son, and they thought that's what they were doing. So Sypher made a very hard and scary decision to move out on his own. He left home and announced this decision on his channel on August 27th of 2015.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Sypher, and I am making this update video just so I can inform you guys on some big channel updates that will be happening as of today, and just to update you guys on my life. Most of you already know this, but I recently moved out and I decided to become a full-time streamer and YouTuber. Now I know this might sound crazy to some of you guys and you might think I am stupid for doing this, but to be honest with you, I've sat down and I thought about this for a really long time and I just want to give it a shot.
This was insanely hard for Sypher to do. He left his house with just a trash bag full of stuff and nothing else. And now he had to pay for his own food, clothes, everything. Luckily, he was about to meet someone that would make his difficult transition period a little bit less stressful. The woman who would eventually become his wife, Daniela.
And I've been streaming Elder Scrolls Online for about a year now, making a few thousand a month, but I'm still living with my parents, and like my parents like don't want me to go full time on streaming at this point. I saw like a streamer in the Elder Scrolls Online directory, and it was my wife, and she was streaming, but she wasn't a streamer, like if that makes sense. Like she just happened to turn on a stream to show her friends the game, which is Elder Scrolls Online, to try to convince them to buy the game. So she was streaming to like
That's so
8
fun.
or 10 people, and it was just her friends. But like she low-key also was like still streaming, like she was talking to whoever was coming in.
Sypher knew he had to talk to this girl, so he slid into her DMs or her Twitch chat.
What ended up happening was like, I was like, oh, she's kind of cute, so I went to her chat and I started like asking her questions about the game, but she recognized my name as like someone who streams Elder Scrolls a lot, so she kind of knew. And we had a little bit back and forth, but like I got scared and ran away. Like I left the chat. I was like, oh no, my cover's blown.
While this first interaction wasn't exactly successful, it sure did make an impression, because after she saw Sypher's moving out stream, she messaged him on Twitch.
Basically, she messaged me saying, I saw your stream from the hotel, like it was really sad, like because it was a very sad stream. Like that's probably the only time I ever cried on stream, besides like when I got my icons again. I got a little teary-eyed. I was telling the people, like, guys, like my parents, like they're not supporting my dream. They want me to to quit streaming, and I don't want to, and all this stuff. So I told the chat that. She happened to be tuned in. She messaged me saying, if you need somebody to talk to, like, here's my Skype. And I messaged her on Skype, so we started talking.
Sypher didn't immediately message her back because he still needed to get out of his temporary living situation and find a full apartment, which was easier said than done. Back then, landlords didn't exactly accept a Twitch streamer as proof of employment.
Literally, like, I was in that hotel for a week looking for an apartment. No apartments were taking me because my proof of income was like PayPal and YouTube.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what that was. I finally got an apartment, and like the first night, I was like, you know what? I was like a little lonely. I'm in my own apartment. I don't even have a bed yet. Like, I was just gonna like sleep with some blanket that I had packed. I set up my PC because I was gonna be ready to stream the next day, and like I added her on Skype, and we talked from like 10 p.m. to like 4 a.m. She had like work at 8 a.m., but she still made it to work the next day, and I thought that was impressive.
Following their long late-night conversation, the two of them decided to start a long-distance relationship, and they've been inseparable ever since. For the next few years after going full-time, Sypher mostly streamed Elder Scrolls Online, but would dabble in other games like Overwatch.
I got them all. I got them all.
Sorry, I one shot. Nice hit.
And H1Z1.
Older than me.
Killed your dad.
No, I didn't.
You just killed your dad.
I love my dad.
Unfortunately, a majority of his base were only there for his Elder Scrolls Online content, so he would see significant drop in viewership when playing other games.
Where I was first streaming Elder Scrolls full time, so I really like went all in on that and was really locked in. But eventually, like things started slowing down for Elder Scrolls, and you know, I would try to dabble into other games. Like I would try to play H1Z1, played Overwatch. The issue was that like I would have like 400 to 600 live viewers on Elder Scrolls Online, but anytime I played anything else, I would have like 100 viewers. Felt like, oh man, like I gotta restart. And I was worried about like losing my current audience while messing around with other games. So I was always very hesitant.
Although Sypher loved Elder Scrolls Online, it's really hard to play the same game over and over again for so long with no freedom to play anything else. But in 2017, a new game was about to come out that might be his ticket out of the Elder Scrolls grind. And that game was not Fortnite. See, you were all expecting the Timmy thing where I go Fortnite, Fortnite, Fortnite. Well, not yet. First, we have to talk about For Honor, which was a MOBA released by Ubisoft on Valentine's Day of 2017. Because nothing is more romantic than knights, samurais, and Vikings being violent with each other. The game For Honor itself is character-based, and you can choose different heroes to duel with.
Eventually, though, there was a game that came out called For Honor, and I guess the crossover, because Elder Scrolls Online, older audience, it's a medieval type of game. For Honor, also slightly older audience. It was a fighting game Ubisoft made. There was like samurai, knights, and Vikings. Started playing that, and what I noticed is like when I swapped to that, like instead of going from 500 viewers to like 100, like going from that to H1Z1 or Overwatch, I would go from like 500 to like 350, and then I actually noticed that my viewership would actually go higher on For Honor because it was like a newer game, and I was one of the early players that was actually doing well in that game. So like I would actually have like 800 viewers, 1,000 viewers playing For Honor versus like 500 on Elder Scrolls. Started playing tournaments on that game as well, and I started winning tournaments. Like I was like actually doing really well, and the character that I played was called Shigoki.
Sypher wasn't just winning tiny tournaments here and there. He actually qualified for one of the biggest LANs in the game of all time. After fighting through multiple weeks for online qualifiers, Sypher made it to the top and was invited to the LAN in California.
My name is Ali, also known as SypherPK, and I'm from Austin, Texas. My favorite hero is Shigoki. He's the first hero I used to win my first tournament. I recently stopped using him after he got nerfed, but picked him back up for the 4th qualifier, and Shigoki won me the 4th qualifier, which guaranteed my position here in LA. A lot of people don't think I deserve to be here, so I'm here to prove them wrong.
Sypher was considered a frontrunner going into the tournament and was one of the most recognizable players due to his streaming. He also was super well liked by the entire community.
Right now it is going to be SypherPK against Kiri TV.
Yeah,
Who do you like in that matchup?
You should already know who I like.
I know who you like.
You know who I like. I like SypherPK, and not just because we go way back, but I like SypherPK also because he has the matchup advantage. He's bringing out the Shigoki, which is something we haven't seen at all today. We haven't seen much. Well, actually, we did. We seen a little bit of Shigoki play earlier, but SypherPK is known as like the godfather of Shigoki. He's won like 10+ tournaments between 1v1, 2v2, and 4v4 using his Shigoki. He's really good on Shigoki. And last time he matched up with Kiri, he put him in the dirt with that Shigoki.
On day 1 of the tournament, Sypher would win in a nail-biting final match to move on to the bracket stage of the tournament.
Do it so Sypher just goes into that all block. Oh, actually gets the knockdown off of that because of the level change. He actually got the trip into the heavy. Did you see that? He actually, it looked like what happened was he got thrown off of a rock. There was a little bit of a level change. It tripped him up off of that counter guard break. All right, and with that, Sypher has secured his spot in the 8-man bracket.
And we have our bracket coming in right now.
The bracket is Clutchmeister versus Oscar, first Cypher and Bandana, Berace and Scorebrand, and Lawrencid and Alernikin coming up next.
Unfortunately, Cypher chose a bad character matchup and would ultimately lose in the first bracket, which landed him in 8th place, which is not too bad for playing his first ever LAN.
As I said, Canyon is a map for Centurion. The guard break lands there from Cypher. Does not get the into the break. Into the guard break.
Embrace.
Heavy landing. Into the
wall
execute.
splat. That's going to be GG for Cypher. He missed that wall splat right there.
For a moment, it looked like Cypher was about to really lock in and focus on For Honor and building a new community with it. But things didn't work out to plan.
What was interesting is that like eventually For Honor kind of started dying off. They had a lot of issues. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement in the new game, but they had a lot of issues to deal with. So I actually started losing viewers on For Honor. So I kind of went back to Elder Scrolls Online, and I was a little bit annoyed at this point because I was like, man, I felt like I had just finally broken out of my first
Feeling
game.
like you had to play a certain game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily for Cypher, a game was about to come out that would change not only his own life, but the entire world of gaming forever. And it was called Fortnite. Editor, do the thing. The Fortnite never. Let's just keep going. Fortnite Battle Royale came out on September 26th of 2017, and it became one of the biggest games in the history of the world very fast. Oddly enough, Cypher hadn't heard about the game until one of his mods in his Twitch chat recommended that he give it a try. And despite being skeptical of the game and its kiddish graphics at first, he downloaded it to see if it had any potential, and he wasn't that impressed.
I started playing it, and like in one of my first few games, like I made it to the top 5, and there's a guy like built up in a 1x1, and he snipes me, and I didn't see him, and I'm like, oh, this is cheese. People just build in the end game, and they build little towers and sit in it. That's so lame. And then I like quit Fortnite for like 3 weeks.
So yeah, Cypher's first ever experience with Fortnite wasn't the best, but he knew that he didn't want to play Elder Scrolls for the rest of his life, so he decided to give the game one more chance.
But then like I needed to snap out of it. Like I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, are you gonna really play Elder Scrolls Online again? Like at this point, I had been playing it for 3 years, and there wasn't any growth. I was like, well, I need to take a risk. I need to take a chance on something.
Cypher decided that he was going to start going hard on the Fortnite content. He uploaded his first ever Fortnite video to his main channel on October 23rd of 2017, just a little less than a month after the game came out, and it was titled Biggest Fail Ever.
I see him.
You ready?
Yeah. Box him up. He's boxed it. Oh, you're in with him. You boxed me. We placed second. We got second place. We didn't even win.
Anyways, to make himself stand out, Cypher decided to stream when nobody else wanted to. So he would wake up at the crack of dawn to go live, and it actually started to work. In the first month of streaming regularly, Cypher picked up 3,000 followers in just 30 days.
So I started streaming at like 5:30, 6 a.m. And I have like those videos still up on my Twitter, like saying, good morning, guys. We're going live with some Fortnite. And surprisingly, I would still have about 100 viewers watching me at that time, which was fine though, because like at that time, 100 viewers, I was much higher on the lists because there wasn't as many streamers on. So people were actually finding my stream. And like that first month of me doing that, I gained 3,000 followers. At the time I had like 80K. So to gain 3,000 in a month, it was still a good amount. And it meant that I was actually growing.
After implementing this new stream time schedule, Cypher started to slowly gain a following and build himself a community. And then he would start to blow up even more after one of his biggest viral clips of all time, the infamous Trap Tower, which was uploaded on January 22nd of 2018.
I think if we go up there, he'll follow us.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna use it. Please. Yes! Oh my God! It worked! Oh my God!
This clip went absolutely viral and eventually became one of the most viewed Fortnite clips in the entire world. As the clip was going viral, Sypher's views would also skyrocket live on Twitch. He started the How to Win series on his YouTube channel as well on February 27th of 2018, and that became the longest running series on his channel. On top of this, other creators started to notice Sypher, and more specifically, he would start to play with Dakotas.
And I gotta give props to Dakotas. He was the first streamer, large Fortnite streamer, to give me any props. He rated me with 40,000 viewers when I had like 500 people watching. And he was telling his viewers that I'm cracked. He's been like secretly watching my streams. And he says I'm really good. I didn't even know he was watching.
After Sypher got raided by Dakotas, he just kept hitting win after win after win.
So he raided me at like 6 or 7 in the morning. And I streamed like 15 hours straight, like post the raid, and it was just win after win. I was recording educational videos. People were like, oh my god, like this guy's really good, like this guy's winning all the time. So that was like a clutch moment.
Sypher also started getting invited to various streamer events, one of which being the St. Jude's Clips for Kids charity event, which was hosted by Dr. Lupo. Here, Sypher hits one of the most insane rocket launcher sniper shots known to man. And don't worry, I've got the clip right here.
There's only one left. I don't know where he is. I will find him. I will raise the child.
First try.
You better drop a 360. All right, he's weak. He's weak right here. Did 360 jump?
I hit him off the rocket.
Sypher, you sniped him off the rocket?
Yes, I did.
Wow, Sypher. I am just trying a 360 no scope, and you stole my kill.
I'm sorry.
This wasn't the only streamer event that Sypher was invited to either. He also got the opportunity to play in the infamous Friday Fortnite tournaments, where he duoed with none other than Nick Merckx.
When Fortnite Friday got announced, it was like the first big tournament, because there was no like custom battle royale tournaments back then. So this was like the first big tournament. It's a kill race between all the top players. You had all the FaZe members, you had Tfue, you had Myth playing in it. You even had like Mr. Beast and Logan Paul playing it. It was like everybody was playing it, right? Fortnite was on top in the mainstream. I messaged Nick and I said, hey man, like you want a duo for this tournament? And he was like, yeah, let's run it.
The first ever Friday Fortnite tournament had absolutely everyone involved. The FaZe guys, Myth, Nick A30, and even Mr. Beast. And despite not practicing at all before the tournament, Sypher and his new duo Nick came out on top. Because of all these events and the shoutouts, Sypher was one of the fastest growing names in all of Fortnite, and really all of streaming in general. He was now averaging tens of thousands of viewers without anybody rating him.
I still remember this. Like I had a stream where I was just playing pubs, and not a lot of people were on, and I had 50,000 people watch, 54,000 peak on a random stream where I'm just playing solos. And in that moment, I was like, holy crap, man, like what is like we made it, bro.
This was obviously a huge improvement from the 100 average viewers that he had just a few months ago. At this point, he was such a huge content creator that Epic Games themselves started to take notice and invited him to the Fortnite Celebrity Pro-Am on June 12th of 2018.
We're here in Los Angeles, where you're about to witness some of the biggest names in gaming and entertainment drop into the brand new Bank of California Stadium. They will compete for bragging rights and a part of a $3 million prize pool that will go to the charity of their choice. We've assembled some of the best gamers, streamers, and competitive players around, along with some of the biggest names in entertainment. They will join forces as duos and compete for that sweet, sweet victory royale. The rules are simple: 50 duos, one player from the world of gaming and one from entertainment. They drop in, build, and battle until only one duo remains. The stage is set, the players are ready, and in Fortnite, anything can happen. Who will rise up and who will fall? The world is watching. Welcome to the Fortnite Celebrity Pro-Am at E3 2018.
This was easily one of the biggest gaming events in history. Gaming at this point was rarely embraced by media, so to see all these celebrities in one place do an esports tournament was really, really cool.
So that was pretty crazy. I wasn't super surprised to be invited at that moment, because it was like I was doing really, really well. But I was surprised to see like who was being invited in terms of like the celebrities. You had A-list movie stars, NBA players, NFL players, singers, performers, and it was a surreal experience, because first of all, they went all out. Like it was a crazy event. There was live fans. People were like, this is my first time like being in an environment where like fans are like screaming out my name and like they're asking for pictures and stuff. So it was really like eye-opening.
Although he wasn't exactly known for being a pro player, back in 2018, Sypher was one of the best at the game.
What's funny is like one of the analysts like fully expected me to win because of my how to win videos. They were like, yeah, watch this guy, he knows. But you know, in an environment like that, it's a lot different because it's like you're playing on a different setup. They gave us their own PCs and mouse, and it was you know, you're playing with a celebrity who also not all of them play and whatnot. So there was a lot of variables involved.
Sure.
And he was not lying. These commentators were glazing Sypher.
And then the pair that I think could potentially take it all is SypherPK and Tariq Cohen. This is a dominating team here, Lupo. They have a lot of talent.
Tariq Cohen is scary good at the game, and if you've ever seen Sypher, the self-proclaimed trap god of Fortnite, he has done some really scary things that, honestly, if it happened to me, what he's done to some of those players, I would just uninstall. I'd just be done. That's it. It's over. My career is done.
The celebrities and gamers alike were given a huge entrance, and the fans were going crazy.
SypherPK coming in.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, he's like one of the favorites in my mind.
Saying before, the trap legend, man, you got to look out for him.
Sypher's partner Tariq is said to be the best Fortnite player in the NFL.
I hope
it's a bold claim.
If he heard that, the ego's going. I'm just kidding. I'm sure he's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure he's great.
Unfortunately, Sypher and Tariq didn't win, and they didn't even come in the top 10, but the event as a whole was a ton of fun. Shortly after the ProAm on July 9th of 2018, Sypher would hit 1 million followers on Twitch after 7 years of content creation.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, 1 million Twitch followers, and we get it with 19 kills and a pickaxe trap finish. In front of almost 25,000 people.
Radio Boy
1 million followers, 19 kills. What a way to get it, man. What a way.
2018 was easily Sypher's biggest year online to date, and he was just getting started. After gaining hundreds and thousands of followers, getting insane amounts of viewers, and getting to play Fortnite with cool gamers and celebrities, he was ready to take on 2019. And speaking of 2019, towards the end of it, in October, Sypher would have a stream that would change his career forever and solidify him as one of the biggest Fortnite creators of all time. And if you guys don't remember it, it was the Blackout stream that took place from October 13th to October 15th. This was the downtime between Season X and Chapter 2, and while it probably sounds silly to stream the video game's downtime, Sypher knew that people were interested in the Black Hole event, and while all the other streamers were playing other games or just taking a break, Sypher knew that he could get all of their viewers to watch his stream. In fact, Sypher had experienced his highest peak viewers ever during that Fortnite stream.
The Fortnite servers had issues going back online. I was already live at 6 a.m. No one went live. Like usually Ninja's live by 11, 10 a.m. Tim the Tatman's live by like 8 a.m. Nobody went live because the servers were still down.
Yeah.
So, and I was just live and my viewership just kept going up. I started watching like some of my videos, my how to win videos. I was breaking down some VODs for people tuning in. Ended up getting 10K viewers the first time while Fortnite was down.
Because of this previous experience, Sypher decided to stay on for the Black Hole event, knowing that something big could happen.
The Black Hole event happens. No one knows what's going down. And then we find out that the servers are down and that the leakers are saying it could be down for 2 days. So after that happened, like I was watching it with Ninja, Tim, Nick Merckx. We were all in a call. Hey, you guys want to go play? I don't know what game it was that they wanted to play. It was either like Call of Duty or something. Like they're just saying, you want to go play this instead.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, no, I think I'm just gonna stay on Fortnite for a little bit, like stay in the Fortnite directory, just like see what's going on. So during the Black Hole event, I think I peaked at like 80,000 live viewers, and I'm sure Ninja had way more, and Nick and Tim probably had way more viewers during the event. All of a sudden, like a few hours after the servers are down, I'm up to 80K viewers. I'm like up from 10K to 80K, and I'm like, I peaked at maybe 80K during the live event. A couple hours later, I'm at 100K, 120K, 130K. I'm like, what is going on? It's almost midnight, and I'm at like 150K live viewers. I think that was the peak.
Since the stream, it's become a tradition for Sypher to stream during the downtime and hang out with all of his viewers to get an early jump on the new season. Just a few months later, in 2020, Sypher would create a second channel called Sypher Plays, which focused on games other than Fortnite like Minecraft and Among Us. These games were super popular in 2020 because of the pandemic, so it made sense to make a special channel just for them. Unfortunately, that channel is no longer active, but we'll get back to that later, because we have to go to 2021, where Sypher would take another huge step in his career, launching his very own clothing brand called Metal Umbrella.
We had done like merch drops, like SypherPK focused merch drops, like Oni inspired stuff, and it's cool. And those have been like successes in the grand scheme of things. But like the only people who actually purchase, SypherPK merch is someone who's like not even just like a SypherPK fan, but someone who's like really a SypherPK fan, someone who's really committed to the stream and the content. So we felt like it was always like limited as to who would actually purchase. So we had the idea of coming up with our own like merch brand, which is Metal Umbrella, and it was like streetwear, anime inspired. We put a lot of time and effort into the branding, which came out fantastic.
The brand's first launch was on July 31st of 2021, and it went crazy. They even popular with some of the biggest popular stores.
We launched it, and it was a huge success, especially in its first year. Like we did 7 figures in revenue, and we even got into retail store in a partnership with PacSun. So
wow.
It was fantastic.
Metal Umbrella was a huge step forward in Sypher's business because he started to grow outside of just traditional content creation. And because of this success, 2022 would see even bigger success for Sypher as he moved into launching Oni Studios.
Today is the start of a new chapter in my life. Up until now, I've made Fortnite YouTube videos and live streamed on Twitch, but over the past year, I have been working on something huge. It's always been my dream to be a content creator. I grew up watching a lot of YouTubers and streamers, and I wanted to be just like them. 10 years ago, it was just a dream I was pursuing, and now I can finally say that it has come true. I have made it as a content creator and streamer, but just because I've seen some success doesn't mean I want to slow down. Today, I'm going to show you the evolution of the stream and the next steps I plan to take. Without further ado, I would like to present Oni Studios.
However, starting Oni Studios somehow wasn't even the biggest thing to happen to Sypher in 2022. Because as many of you know, on September 23rd of 2022, Epic Games would release the SypherPK icon skin. While it was released in 2022, I got to ask Sypher about the process of making the skin, which had started an entire year prior.
So I would go to the meeting, and it's the usual people from Epic that I've talked to, all this stuff, like you've been covering the game for a while. We appreciate what you've done for the community. We feel like you are an icon of the community. And like when they started saying that, I was like, what's going on here? And then they're like, as you know, for some of our icons, we like to reward them by like immortalizing them in the game with an icon series. Is that something you're interested in? I actually initially I was like, something I'm gonna have to think about. I'll get back to you guys. And then I was like, nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, run me my icon series.
In addition to the skin and all of its matching items and emotes, Epic Games also made SypherPK a really cool documentary. Not as cool as this documentary, but yeah.
A really good video to watch. You just want to know my full backstory, like in a very cinematic way. That was crazy because like the documentary was really cool. We went back to my high school. They interviewed one of my coaches. They interviewed my family. So it was really cool to kind of just really pull back the curtain and show people like my upbringing and stuff. But they had like these guys from Marvel who worked on like special effects and stuff to do like the last 2 minutes of the documentary where I transformed into my icon skin. And even though it's only 2 minutes of like the 25-minute documentary, we spent 2 full days filming those 2 minutes. I'm in purple paint. God. I'm cold. My shoulder is really sore at this point because I had like this heavy Oni mask. It wasn't made out of styrofoam. It was like a heavier object on my shoulder the entire time. But it turned out so cool. They had me on top of a roof and everything.
Everything he was doing for the past 10 years of his life kind of led up to this one big moment.
It was like everything, like from the very beginning of this conversation, like leading up to that moment. Like I could feel the timeline, like get to that moment. Every decision I made, every day I spent streaming, like everything led up to that one specific moment, and I could really feel it in real time. So it's just kind of like, it was nuts. It was nuts.
This was easily one of the best icon skins that Fortnite had ever released, and the extreme attention to detail was really cool to see. The team at Oni Studios was doing a lot more than just helping make Sypher's icon skin though, as they were opening a giant $10 million headquarters to do so much more.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Sypher and welcome to the Oni Studios HQ.
Next, they would start building insanely cool Fortnite maps on UEFN.
Welcome to Rocket Wars. Fight for your lunar base in 4v4 v4v4 combat. Build your defenses, make aggressive plays, and fight off the enemy teams to be the last team standing.
Oni Studios is putting a ton of work into maps right now behind the scenes that I'm super excited to play later this year, so definitely keep an eye out for some of Sypher's new maps. On top of the maps as well, Sypher has said that Metal Umbrella will hopefully be launching again with some new drops this year.
People are probably wondering, like, why have you done a new drop in a while? So we're a small team, and basically to be like completely transparent, like even though we were doing we did 7 figures in our first year, like the effort we were putting into it was a lot, right? So we actually we wanted to focus on things that were even more lucrative, like solidifying our YouTube content and our YouTube team and our marketing around our Fortnite maps. Did announce last year that we are bringing back Metal Umbrella this year, and we do plan to do more drops this year now that we have like a little bit more of a structure, because like the whole time while all this is happening, we're obviously building our business and building Oni Studios. So there's all these moving parts. So to successfully pull off a clothing brand, you have to focus on that.
So I think it's safe to say that if you're a fan of Sypher, you have a ton of really cool things to look forward to in 2025, and I cannot wait to see what comes next. Thank you so much to Sypher for doing this interview. It was really awesome getting to talk to you. If for some crazy reason one of you is not subscribed to him, his channel is of course linked in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!